Welcome to Our College, Your Voices. I'm your host, Kara Monroe. On today's episode, we are going to be talking in depth about Ivy Tech's strategic plan. The strategic plan was approved by the State Board of Trustees in January of 2018, and we've made some great progress on its implementation over the past year. Meeting the goals of the strategic plan really is a team effort. Ivy Tech employees from all over the state are serving on our strategy committees to ensure Ivy Tech reaches our vision of students earning 50,000 high-quality certifications, certificates, and degrees per year aligned with the needs of our workforce. We are excited to tell you more about our progress today and talk with our panel. First up, Kristen Moreland. Hi, Kristen.
Hi, Kara. How are you?
I'm good. How are you today?
Good. I'm Kristen Moreland. I'm the Vice President of Change Management and Strategic Initiatives for the system.
And I think of you sort of like the strategic plan's mom.
Sue's the strategic plan's mom.
Okay. You're its big sister, maybe?
Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
The auntie.
All right. The auntie. All right. Vanessa Fritz. Hi, Vanessa.
Good morning, Kara. I'm the strategic plan rotational lead for Goal 7, which is community.
Very good. And you are a returning strategic rotation lead. Is that right?
Yes, I am.
Okay. So you have done this for 6 months and you've come back to us again for another 6 months.
Yes, I have, which we're already halfway through.
Yes, absolutely. Yes. Very good. Welcome, Vanessa.
Thank
and
you.
Rebecca Ray Schulte. Hi, Rebecca.
Hi, good morning. Thanks for the opportunity to be here today.
Of course.
My name is Rebecca Ray Schulte, and I had the opportunity to serve 2 terms as a strategic leadership rotation lead for Goal 4, which is workforce.
Excellent. So let's start into some of our questions here, and we'll start with the first one for Kristen. Tell us a little bit more about the methodology that was used to develop the strategic plan.
So we are trained, many of us here at Ivy Tech, in Simplex, which I believe we've covered on a
previous
talked about a couple of times. Podcast. Yep. Yes. And so we use part of the Simplex methodology to develop each of our goals. So we spent about a year working on it. Stacy Atkinson, who's been on before, and I facilitated it under President Ellspermann's guidance. Mm-hmm. And what we did was develop the 7 goals, and then we used Simplex mapping to flush out all of the strategies and tactics underneath those goals. Mm-hmm. So we would ask, why do we want to do something and what's stopping us from doing something? And by doing that, we were able to develop the 7 goals and then sub-strategies under each of those.
Very good. We've heard here on the podcast from a couple of outside guests, and I think that was the first time I started hearing it, is that it's unique that we can talk about strategy 3.2 and strategy 4.1, and not only do we know the numbers and the sub numbers of them, but we know what they are and they have meaning to us. Tell us a little bit more about the implementation that has led to that, to it being such a part of our culture and our fabric here at Ivy Tech.
So the way we structured that is each goal has a goal sponsor that sits on the president's cabinet. So one high-level leadership person is responsible for the entire goal. Then we wanted to make sure that we had both systems office and campus representation for each strategy. So we set up a system by which each strategy then has a co-lead from systems office and a co-lead from the campus. And then those co-leads have a team of people that work on implementing that strategy. And those people meet on their own at a regular interval of their choosing. Then every month we have a monthly goal call, and we go over each of the strategies, look for overlaps, make sure things are moving along. The other piece that helped in terms of implementation is Sue had set aside a small strategic planning budget so that we could make funding requests to move things along. And so that helps when there's like one-time costs that wouldn't otherwise be funded. We're able to get a little bit of resources to do that. So I think having both systems office and campus people on those teams really helped integrate it into the fabric. The other thing that's been really helpful are the strategy rotation leads. So that's a leadership development program, and Rebecca and Vanessa are both members of that core, where we have people, mostly campus-based people, but some systems office as well, apply to be a strategy rotation lead. And then when they're selected, they run a goal, everything related to that goal, for 6 months with the optional extension of another 6 months. And so that has helped really, because then I have people all around the state who are living and breathing that every day.
Very good. And we'll talk a little bit more about that role a little bit later, I think, in this episode. So we'll talk more about that. Very good. We just celebrated the strategic plan's first birthday. President Ellspermann put on Twitter a picture of her blowing out the birthday candle on the cake. And somewhere in the feed, we will have an episode that we recorded on location that day. What have you learned from this first year of implementation, things that we've excelled in and other areas of opportunity?
I'll start. I want to talk about goal 2, and then I'll give it over to Rebecca and Vanessa. So goal 2, we struggled throughout the year in implementation of goal 2.
And goal 2 is the enrollment goal.
Apologies.
That's
Yes,
okay.
Everyone knows it.
I know,
so
we know
I don't
it,
need
so
to.
we don't think about it.
Yeah, so that's our enrollment goal. And we didn't meet our metrics related to that goal. And when I thought back on the year and reflected on the difficulty we had around the implementation of that goal, I realized the strategies just weren't right. And it showed in the fact that we didn't meet our metrics under that goal. So for me, the connection between strategy and actually hitting our target, the difficulty we had around goal 2 was driven home by that fact. And so what we've done this past week is actually remap the entire goal, threw out all the strategies from 2018, and we have brand new strategies that we're working through over the next couple of weeks. What about you guys?
I'll speak to goal 4. We've made pretty significant progress in regard to 2 main topics. The first being work and learn. So there's been a lot of development around work and learn, both defining what it is to ensure that there's a consistent language, but also conversations around how to engage employers in work and learn opportunities and how to embed work and learn into our curriculum. The second big piece has been around the career development redesign, which has been the largest endeavor that we've really accomplished within Goal 4. And so that actually resulted in some of the redesign work that we're doing, a remapping of Goal 4. So that process actually began at the strategic plan review, 1-year review.
Excellent. And goal 4 is our workforce goal.
That is correct.
Yeah, we refer to them by the numbers. We don't think about their names all that much. I would add, too, if we think about an area where I think we've excelled in a comparison I see to previous strategic plans, having changed roles during the year. I was a strategy co-lead. And then when I went into my new role, I became a goal sponsor for 2 goals. And we've kept up with changing those positions, and we've kept up with making sure that new people got added, because I think because of the strategic rotation leads, they know if, okay, Kara's got to be replaced in this place, and we've got to do that. And I think in past strategic plans, just making sure that people stayed attached to things and understood what that role meant was a little bit of a challenge in the past. So kudos to all of you for that. Let's talk a little bit about that strategic rotation lead. Vanessa, you are currently a strategic rotation lead. Tell us a little bit more about the experience and how it has helped you professionally. And Rebecca, feel free to add on to that too.
Well, sure, Kara. When I began in this position, it was interesting to me because I didn't know a single person on Goal 7, but
which is our community goal.
Absolutely, thank you.
You're welcome.
Like Kristen said, we all know what they are, right? But so it became apparent to me very quickly that I was going to have to create relationships with people I did not know on the phone, which was interesting. And I also had the privilege of being part of 4 different strategy teams and being able to see that they all work at different paces, and that was okay. Some teams needed to meet more often, some teams a little less often, and I could kind of get the good perspective to see who needed more support than others. So it helped develop me to be patient and kind of develop that intuition as to when to jump in and when to just, leave things alone because they were progressing quite well on their own.
To add to that, one of the reasons that I was very interested in this opportunity to serve as a strategic leadership rotation lead was because I had spent the majority of my career at Ivy Tech in academic affairs, and I wanted the opportunity to explore other areas of the college. And I feel like this opportunity has given me a chance to learn more about workforce and learn about ways that workforce directly impacts academics. And I think in turn, it's going to help me professionally in any role that I might have with the college, because I can see the college from a broader lens. And that lens, when it comes to problem solving and decision making, that broader lens is really gonna help to make really good, high quality decisions.
You talked a little bit about this, but Rebecca, you sort of started it, but what else have you learned about the college to either one of you through serving in this role?
Well, one of the major insights I have gained is that the strategic plan isn't just printed on some, document somewhere lying around on some shelf. It's actually very inspirational to see how much work goes in to sometimes just barely moving the needle, but then other times making huge strides in progress, which, eventually just translates to the better service of all of our students. So I find it very inspirational to see all the collective work that happens across all the campuses that we have.
I would reiterate what Vanessa shared. I think that there are so many different departments within the college, and to have that broader lens to be able to see the college in a much broader light really helps you to learn that we're all in this together. We're all working together. And I would also stress just the significant amount of time and intentionality and stakeholders that we're all involved in the process. Just shows how important it is to the institution. The strategic plan is carried out in a very effective way.
Very good. We've talked about a few different roles, and Kristen, I think in the show notes, we might link, if it's okay, to the role descriptions that I think you did. I think that might be really valuable for folks who haven't been as close to this to see that.
Sure, that would be great.
Okay. So Kristen, if other people want to get involved in working with the strategic plan here at Ivy Tech, what are the opportunities they have to do that, and how could they do that?
Mm-hmm. We have several roles that people can volunteer for. And Vanessa mentioned that she's halfway through her second 6-month term, but I don't know if that's quite right, because it's going to be more like 8 months, I think. I'm never going to let her go. And I was sorry to see Rebecca go. So their role, the strategic leadership rotation lead, we have up to 7 of those every 6 months. And so I send out a college-wide email basically asking for applications for that. You do have to apply and get sign-off from your campus or your systems office functional lead in order to apply, and then I'll interview you. Or Lakshmi Hasanetka, who's our executive director of strategic initiatives, one of us will interview you. And then when you're selected, you commit for 6 months, and it takes about 10% of your time. The first leadership rotation group, it took about 25% because we were trying to figure out what we were doing and how to structure it. So that is one opportunity. The second opportunity is to be a co-lead. And to do that, right now we have our co-leads named from 2018 and into 2019. We may be shifting that a little bit as strategies have changed from our February 28th refresh. So that is an opportunity. If you're interested in that, you can certainly email me directly. And then the third opportunity is to be on a committee. And we can never have too many people on strategy committees. So if there is a particular goal or a particular strategy that you are interested in as an employee of Ivy Tech or faculty, then you just need to let us know. And by us, I mean email me, and we can hook you up with the right goal lead to get you on one of those committees so that you can actively participate. Another thing you can do is live the strategic plan out on your campus. And so I know several campuses have different strategies related to the goals. So if you have it on your campus, you can certainly participate that way as well.
What are the benefits of getting involved with a strategic plan implementation committee? We've talked about some of those, but are there other things we haven't talked about yet today?
Well, the committees themselves are related to each of the strategies. So for strategy 3.2, for example, which is our K-14 strategy, we recently remapped that with 50 people associated with that work around the state. And that, for example, would be beneficial to someone who wants to more actively engage in development of what we do moving forward. So the benefit is you get a say, right? Or we remapped Goal 2 yesterday, and we had many people who hadn't yet been associated with the goal in the room. And the benefit is they're setting strategy for one of the largest singly accredited community colleges in the country on how we deal with enrollment and retention.
What skill sets might an employee learn or develop while engaging with the strategic plan?
That's a great question, Kara. I would say project management is one of the key things that I feel that I've gained from this experience. Serving as a strategic leadership rotation lead has helped me to be able to both lead a team, to sort of have an action plan and kind of follow their progress as they're working their way through the tactics, help them to monitor that progress. If they run into stumbling blocks, figuring out how to problem solve, working with Kristen to kind of problem solve how we might tackle different issues that are presenting themselves or hurdles that are getting in the way of the progress to be made. Another piece that's been really instrumental within this role has been simplex facilitation skills. It's been, I think that those skills, no matter what role you're in, could be very vital to your success within that role. I find myself using those skills on a regular basis.
I would add to what Rebecca just said that there's an amount of time where you're trying to figure out how long you can wait to start approaching people like vice chancellors you may not know, or your chancellor perhaps. And so that skill set needs to get developed pretty quickly. And I did figure that out. And so that really helped me start approaching people, because we're all in this together. So we're really all on the same team. And once I reminded myself of that, it made it quite easy for me to perhaps send an email to someone I didn't know, or pick up the phone and call someone, or actually insist that I am on the chancellor's appointment calendar. So that skill developed.
Very good. Well, and you do build a network within the college working on the strategic plan at any point, because you're going to interact with people you don't know, I think.
And what I've seen, not just with these two specifically, but with all of the people who have been in the program so far, is just a level of confidence increase over the 6 months. So like Vanessa was saying, she asked me in the beginning, when do I email this person, or how do I approach this person? I'm like, well, you just have to do it. And so to that point, she did it. And now her confidence in that way, has increased dramatically. And I don't think you have a problem asking anybody for anything at this point. So.
No, I absolutely do not.
Yeah. The other thing that I've loved having is faculty in that role. And so that, Vanessa's faculty, it gives a completely different perspective. So we've been really lucky that both faculty and staff want to apply for that. So I'm hoping some people hear this and then decide that it's something they want to apply for in the future, just knowing that it's really a great professional development opportunity and a great way to learn more about areas outside of the one you're currently in here at the college.
We just celebrated the strategic plan's first birthday. So looking forward, what are the biggest challenges with implementing the strategic plan in the next 12 months?
So I'm going to go with opportunities.
Okay.
So a big opportunity is the K-12, K-14 space. We've done a dramatic revitalization of that strategy 3.2. So I really look forward to getting our arms around that. I think enrollment continues to be an opportunity for us. So I'm hopeful that some of the work around Goal 2 will push us in that direction. Additionally, Goal 7, the community goal, was slow to start, but with Vanessa's leadership has really taken off. So I look forward to what we can do with Goal 7, the community goal, in the future.
Our strategic plan is a living, breathing document. We have to adapt it as we move forward. And I'm thrilled because I know what's coming because I got to be at that birthday party as you all did. But what are the changes to the plan and the implementation we're going to see in 2019?
Yes, it was super exciting at the strategic plan refresh meeting, which was on February 28th. We structured the day to really kind of go over what we had learned in the past year, what changes we wanted to make, knowing that we really wanted to incorporate diversity and inclusion more heavily in the plan moving forward. So we scheduled a discussion period about that during the day. And organically out of that session, we decided to add a goal to the strategic plan, which is Goal 8, around diversity and inclusion. So we don't quite have the wording yet. And we don't have the strategies developed because we're going to be going around the state a little bit, make sure that we get enough input on that going forward. But it totally came from that day. We had no intention of adding another goal. And in fact, the president wasn't able to be there, and I could see that that's what was happening. So I texted her during the meeting and said, these people want to add a goal. Is that okay? And she replied back, I'm open to that. So, I mean, that's literally how organically it happened. So it was, and anyone who was in the room, it was really exciting and everyone clapped. And so we're really looking forward to building out Goal 8 for the future.
And I would say that that's another reason working on the strategic plan is so inspirational. When you get a group of people, a large group of people in agreement about anything, it's exciting. And that's exactly what happened that day. Everyone was in agreement. There was no doubt that we absolutely needed to make diversity its own goal, and we did.
I remember from that day the conversation about, it's in our values. Inclusiveness is in our values. And that was sort of how we had threaded it through the whole strategic plan before. But just this belief that it had to be a goal because it has to have its own metrics and we have to be looking at it in that way. And for us as a community to come together around that, I think really shows how important it is to us.
Well, and just to be intentional about it, moving forward. I mean, we've done some work in a hub on diversity, and some things are coming out of that, like training and things like that. But to really put that same kind of focus on diversity that we put on student success, that we put on our human resources, that we put on workforce alignment, really is important, and I think will help us. So I've seen a tremendous amount of movement on the things that we have had strategic focus on over the past year. So I anticipate that will move the needle. And so that is a goal that we'll be looking for strategy leads for every strategy. So if you are interested in the diversity goal, please email me and let me know so that we can start to build our team around Goal 8.
We hope today's episode has helped you learn more about the strategic plan and how you can get involved. Serving on a strategic plan implementation committee is a great way to build your leadership skills and get more involved with the Ivy Tech community. So as our call to action today, give some thought to how you might want to get more involved with the strategic plan. If you're interested in getting more involved with this implementation of the strategic plan, whether it's as a strategic rotation lead, as a member of one of the strategy teams, or specifically with the diversity, equity, and inclusion goal, you can reach out to Kristen, and Kristen's email address is KMORELAND2@ivytech.edu. Thank you for joining this episode of Our College, Your Voices. I want to thank the members of today's panel. Kristen Moreland is the Vice President for Change Management and Strategic Initiatives. Vanessa Fritz is a professor of biology and a current strategic rotation lead for Goal 7. And Rebecca Ray-Schulte is the director of the Batesville Learning Center and is a retired strategic rotation lead. You might come back, though, for Goal 4, Workforce. I'm your host, Kara Monroe. You can connect with me on Twitter at KNM Tweets. Our producer is Ann Penny Valentine. Ann is on Twitter at Indy Penny. Kristen Moreland helped produce this episode. You can reach us by email at ourcollegeyourvoices@ivytech.edu. Leave us a voicemail at 317-572-5049. Our voicemail number again is 572-5049. Our website is ivytech.edu/podcast. It's maintained by Tracy Allen. Production assistance is provided by Becky Campbell, Sarah DeWitt, and the Ivy Tech Community College marketing team, and our podcast concept is by Matthew Pittman. Theme music, recording, and post-production services to make us sound as wonderful as we always do, provided by the incredible Jen Eads at the Brasi Broadcasting Company. We will see you next time on Our College, Your Voices.